beat journalism, enterprise journalism costs money, and newsrooms are cutting back. They have to cut back somewhere. A lot of them, and we've seen with the Denver Post, the staff basically protesting against the management, which is a hedge fund or investment fund that is taking the money and cutting back in journalism. Is this business model doomed? Is the local business model doomed? And do we have to go to public broadcasting in a way? Do we have to go to philanthropy? Do we need to look at local journalism organizations like we look at arts organizations and support them as citizens and as philanthropists?
Can we briefly acknowledge that what happens in Denver and Boulder and other places owned by that organization and similar ones, none of it's foreordained. It doesn't have to work like that. These are conscious choices. People are making conscious choices to extract money from often profitable journalistic operations. They weren't profitable the way they once were, where people thought 15% profit margins was kind of a bad year, but they're profitable. These are conscious choices. So people get to decide if they're going to stand by, allow that to happen. People are going to decide whether or not they want to invest in industries. You've seen in Minneapolis, in Boston, at the Washington Post, places, here, Mr. Jobs, there are people who are deciding to invest and figure out ways to both infuse money into journalistic operations and also find sustainable models for it that don't have to be avaricious. These are not the ways you get rich, but they can be in the black.
Meredith?
We need a menu of shared best business models that support journalism at the local, regional, and sometimes national and global level, right? That is something that is beginning to take shape, and there are a couple of different models that have been mentioned up here that are an option. I think the point about being in communities is hugely important. I think the other thing that's really important, and I can express some optimism if I dare on this point, is who we hire and who we promote to tell the stories that need to be told. And I've been working really hard at CNN, and I'm surrounded with a bunch of leaders who are committed to this too, to make sure that we are hiring people with a diverse range, diversity in every single way that you can think of it, diverse range of backgrounds and views. I do think that is part of the reason that we're seeing some of the trust chipped away at, because some of the public doesn't see themselves represented in our coverage and what we're doing. The head of the Me Too movement said that she often tells Black women and other minority communities that the mainstream media will never tell your story. They have never told your story, so just go out and tell your own story. This is fascinating to me, right? Because yes, people should tell, the technology is there, they can and should tell their own story, but to me that's a clarion call to say, and I can point to examples of where we do this every day and we do it well, but they're just examples. And until we try and make that the air we breathe and the way that it works, then that will help the business model, and it will be doing right by the stories that need to be told in the communities and places and the people that need their stories told.